This is the Mediterranean Sea. And cruises like this are super popular, but I think the average cost for this sailing is $8,000 to $10,000. So before you pay that, I want to go over a few things that we've seen that really surprise people about cruising in Europe, and some things that will cause you to pause if you weren't aware of these before you're sailing. So let's get into it. First is the fact that Europe cruises only happen in the summer. That's when the ships come over here. There are a few maybe that go on throughout the year, but most of your major cruise lines are only going to be in the summer. Now, we're from South Carolina. We know what heat and humidity are, but it is hot here. And doing these excursions in the summer can be hot, and you need to be prepared for that. Bring fans, bring clothing that's cool, hats, sunscreen. Being outside, you are going to be hot. That's the first thing we hear a lot of people complaining about. They weren't aware of just how hot it's going to be. Number two is the fact that these excursions here in Europe can last a really long time. Some of these ports, like if you're doing something in Rome per se, it could take you an hour just to get to the location. So that's an hour there, an hour back. So your excursion is going to be 2 hours minimum. So a lot of these can be 4, 6, even 8-hour excursions. So plan for long days. And again, going back to our first thing that surprised people, it's hot. So hot, 6 to 8 hours outside, it can be long days. So you really want to be prepared for that. And Europe cruises, you're going to be in a lot of different ports. We had 4 port days in a row. It's exhausting. So you need to just be prepared and come ready to do that, because it is different than normal cruising. The other part of excursions here in Europe is they can be expensive. Our first travel agent we ever worked with before Kelly became a travel agent told us that sailing in Europe, you pay to get on the boat, but you may spend just as much money with the excursions as you did to buy the cruise. That's not quite that bad, but some of these excursions can be $150, $200. We've seen some for over $300 per person. Again, those are things you need to budget for and be prepared for. Your bill can get pretty high, so be ready for that. And the third thing that we've seen that really does surprise people is the European VAT. That is their tax. Now, when you're in port, the tax is automatically added on to the price of something. So, you know, we bought a bottle of water for €1. The tax was already in there. There's nothing extra. You just pay the euro. Here on board, though, if it is a cruise leaving out of a European port, you're going to pay that VAT on everything. Drinks, souvenirs, all of that. So you're looking at things to be 18 to 20% higher than they were on a US-based sailing. So be ready for that. Now, if you buy merchandise like t-shirts and hats, things like that, there is a form that you can fill out and you can get some of that back. But you do have to go through that process, and you have to spend a minimum of, for our ship, we left out of Italy, so you had to spend at least $82 per day, and you had to claim it each day. So you kind of needed to do all of that at one time. So those are the 3 things that we find that people aren't aware of: how hot it is, how long these excursions are, how expensive the excursions are, and plan for that 18 to 20% extra on everything. Even with all that said, though, European cruises, we absolutely love them because it is an easy way to explore lots of ports and lots of destinations in Europe that would be otherwise difficult to get to. You're doing a land-based cruise, you may not be able to get to as many cities. Here on this cruise, we went to Greece, Malta, and Italy. So if you're looking to plan your next European vacation, make sure you DM us or leave a comment and talk to Kelly, my wife, and she can make sure that you get the perfect European vacation.